Okay, let's just dive right in. We are heading to Seoul, a city that honestly feels like it's living about 10 years in the future. We're going to break down its absolutely wild consumer tech scene by looking at some of the most unusual gadgets you can find, all to figure out what makes the Korean market tick. And maybe, just maybe, get a peek into our own future. So I'm going to start with a question for you. Would you be willing to electrocute your face every single day if it meant you'd have better skin? Because in South Korea, that is not some weird hypothetical. It's a top-selling beauty product. And this quote right here, it just perfectly captures the level of commitment. It comes from someone trying out a device called the Medicube Booster Pro. It literally uses electrical stimulation to help your skin absorb serums and, fight wrinkles. And yeah, it is intense, but it is also insanely popular. So how on earth does a product like that even exist, let alone become a bestseller? Well, that's what we're here to break down. We're going to explore this idea of hyper wellness and beauty, see how their culture gets baked right into the products, look at the crazy infrastructure that makes it all possible, and then finally, we'll ask the big question. Is this all true innovation or just a really clever gimmick? You see, in Seoul, technology isn't just something you use. It's woven into the very fabric of daily life. And that kind of environment has created a totally unique type of consumer, which leads us to the question, is the tech here just different, or is it fundamentally better than what we're used to? So let's start with wellness, because in Korea, personal care goes way, way beyond just, a fitness tracker or an electric toothbrush. It's all about hyper-specialized technology that targets really specific needs with an almost obsessive level of detail. And this slide right here tells the whole story. On one side, you have a standard massage gun, right? We've all seen them. It does one thing, and it does it pretty well. It pounds on your muscles. But then, look at the Korean scalp massager. It doesn't just massage. It also uses red light therapy to stimulate blood flow. It dispenses treatment oil right onto your scalp while it's working, and it's waterproof, so you can use it in the shower. It's not just a massager, it's a whole hair care system in one little device. And that's really the key here, this cultural mindset. This willingness to go to extremes for personal care, well, it creates a massive market for really advanced technology. And nowhere is that more obvious than in the world of skincare. For a lot of people in Korea, a multi-step skincare routine isn't a luxury. It's a daily ritual. We're talking 7, 10, sometimes even 12 steps. So when your customer base is already that dedicated, it's no wonder there's a huge demand for devices like that face electrocutor we talked about, tools that promise to make every single one of those steps even more effective. Okay, let's move on because this is where it builds. In Korea, tech doesn't just solve a problem, it's a reflection of the culture. Features that might look totally strange or just quirky to us are standard over there because they're designed around very specific social norms and tastes. I mean, just look at these examples. Their main messaging app, KakaoTalk, has this whole universe of cute characters that are just everywhere. You've got gamification in electronics stores where you can literally enter a lottery to buy an electric shaver. People express their whole identity by attaching these mascot cases to their gear. And phone cases, they aren't just for protection. They use NFC, that same tap-to-pay tech in your phone, to automatically change your phone's wallpaper. Culture isn't an afterthought, it's a core feature. And this quote just perfectly captures the surprise an outsider might feel. An earphone case, branded with an almond milk company logo, being sold in Samsung's official flagship store. It seems bizarre, but it just goes to show you that the consumer taste there really values this cute, quirky, and super personalized branding, even from a global tech giant. Sometimes culture shapes tech in a much more serious way. In South Korea, every phone is legally required to make a shutter sound when you take a picture, and you absolutely cannot turn it off. This isn't some random design choice. It's a direct technological solution that was put in place to fight a major societal problem with hidden cameras. And none of this advanced, super personalized tech would work without a rock-solid foundation. And that brings us to the hyper-connected infrastructure of a city like Seoul, which just fundamentally changes what's even possible for technology. Zero. Just think about that for a second. Over a full week of heavy testing, the 5G connection never dropped. Not once, not on the street, not in a building, not even deep underground on a moving subway train. That kind of reliability is just the baseline expectation. And what if you don't have 5G? Well, the free public Wi-Fi on the subway was clocked at over 200 megabits per second. That's faster than a lot of people's home internet in the West. This kind of constant high-speed connection isn't a luxury. It's treated like a public utility. And this leads to some fascinating consequences. See, when you can just assume that everyone is always connected, you can design smarter systems. Local map apps show you in real time exactly where your train is on the track. Crosswalks have lights literally embedded in the pavement, designed specifically for people who are looking down at their phones. Technology anticipates your behavior because the infrastructure allows it to. Okay, so we've seen the culture and we've seen the infrastructure, but are the products themselves actually better? For this last section, let's put some of this tech head-to-head with its Western counterparts and see if it's real innovation or just a different flavor of gadget. Let's talk toasters. The Balmuda is this high-end $300 toaster famous for using steam to make perfect toast. Well, the Korean brand Cuckoo makes a toaster with the exact same steam technology for about $70. And in a blind taste test, the Balmuda got a perfect 10, but the Cuckoo was right behind it with a 9 for a quarter of the price. That is not a gimmick, that's delivering premium innovation at a mass market price. And it's the same story with this vacuum. A Dyson is built for Western homes with lots of carpet, so it prioritizes massive suction power. The LG Pencil Vac, on the other hand, is designed for typical Korean homes with hard floors, so it prioritizes being lightweight and easy to move around, with this clever little chamber that actually compresses the dirt to save space. It's innovation through specialization. But not every product is a clear home run. Take this offline AI translator. It's impressively fast at scanning and translating text without needing any internet. But is it really better than just using Google Translate on your phone, which can do a whole page instantly with its camera? For a very specific niche user, maybe, but it means carrying around and charging a whole separate device. So what's the big takeaway here? Korean tech isn't necessarily better or worse. It's different in 4 key ways. 1, it's hyper-specialized for local needs. 2, it integrates cultural trends as core features. 3, it's all built on an assumption of total, seamless connectivity. And most importantly, it exists in a market that is just incredibly willing to experiment with new and, yeah, sometimes very strange ideas. And that leaves us with one last thought. For decades, the goal of tech has been to create a single powerful device for the entire world. But what we're seeing in South Korea, it suggests a different path. A future where the most successful technology isn't the most powerful, but the one that is most perfectly in tune with its culture.